Nice.
All right, we're here. I'm gonna turn this into a video after. So, welcome to another episode of Real Talk by Capers and Parsons. We got the star we are and some guests. We got Jimmy's hair, Slamming Sammy, Landry's legend. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, Capers?
Feeling a little
How's your
better.
day going so far?
Good, man. Good, good, good. So,
Good deal.
where do we want to start first? Do we want to start with the draft that just happened, or do we want to start with Ezekiel Elliott?
Ooh,
Let's start with the fresher news. Ezekiel Elliott's
Okay,
a little bit
Ezekiel
fresher by
Elliott.
day.
there we go.
Okay, we can go at it. We can go with that now. So, how do you guys feel about Ezekiel Elliott's return?
Well,
And
I
I
want to
actually
call
want
for
to start with Sammy because I see her
yes,
smiling.
yes. I was
So
just
I
gonna
actually
say
want to
that.
start with her.
Okay, so don't judge, but I'm one of the few that. Okay, so I can say I'm a little bit more confident now than I was at the beginning. I mean, his performance last year was way different, than what he was with the Cowboys. I know they didn't have an O-line quite like we did, but I mean, even when he was signing this year, he's looking a little aged. He's looking
He is a little
looking a
aged.
little slow. I know he's our push-in guy, and I hope he can still do that. But I still am Tony Pollard forever. So it broke my heart to see him leave and
Yeah.
bring Zeke back. But I don't know. I just don't have much
You can
faith
say
in
it
him
with
anymore.
confidence. You don't
I'm
like
not
Yeah,
it.
gonna
you
use.
can keep it 100. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he's washed. I'm not gonna use that term. I think that's pushing it, but I feel like
You wouldn't have
everybody
brought him back.
expects him to be 2016, 2017 Zeke, and that's just not who he is anymore. That's
Hey, and let me say that, Sam. I don't think they brought him back at $2 or $3 million to be 2016 Zeke, right? 2016 Zeke carried the ball 300 times. This guy's going to carry it 150. So how do you feel about that?
that makes me a little better, but I feel like it's going to be kind of the same thing. So my biased opinion was not last year, obviously the year before that, when Tony was just hauling it down the whole field and Zeke was pushing it in the end zone. I know the score is what matters, but he got all the credit.
That was a
And
good one too that year.
For the
okay,
run
yeah.
I'm
game, yeah.
kind of
For the,
bitter about it. I mean, Tony flew us down there, got us down there, and then boom, touchdown. Go Zeke, go Zeke, go Zeke.
he
Like,
did.
where's the love for the others? And
Mhm.
I don't want it to end that way because I'm excited for Rico to be back. I'm hoping to see more Hunter Lipke out there, but I just don't want everybody to be Zeke did it all. Zeke did it all because that's not how it's going to be. I don't see it that way.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
I don't know.
Fair
You
enough.
guys, Jimmy,
So
Landry, how you feeling?
yeah, so I'll just go real quick on it. I said it before we signed him, of course, when they mentioned, when it got mentioned, should we bring Zeke back to, the chatter? He was visiting, yada yada. At the right price, of course. At the right amount of carries, of course. Love to see 21 and 4 reunited, get the 2-1-4 back in full strength. And one thing I told Landry, and one thing we know about Zeke, I don't know what he's got left in the tank, and I don't know if this will be. It's a 1-year deal. It may be a last hurrah for him. He may 1 year and go ahead and retire as a Cowboy. We don't know. So if it is, which I think it is, one thing I know what he will do for sure is give us 10,000%. Last
Yeah.
year, he's going to be excited to be back. He's a hard player. He's good in the locker room. He's good on the sideline. He's going to give us everything he has. And I think with the type of player he is, if he stays as healthy as he was in New England all year last year, I think that 10,000% will translate into something that's slightly better than what we've seen out of our backfield last year, especially with the retooling we've done on the offensive line. So I'm okay
Okay.
with it. I'm definitely more on the plus side.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. How about you, Landry?
As it stands, he's the best running back on the team.
Yeah.
And to echo some of the sentiments of what Jimmy was saying, Dak Prescott is literally his best friend. And if this is the
Yeah.
last year, it's a guaranteed 10,000%, 100,000.
Yeah, you're gonna play hard.
And listen, he you still don't want to see him running full speed at you, right? If this offensive line is better with these rookies and put together, and we're going to get to that. I still don't think it's fun to tackle this guy with a 5 yard head of steam. So, yeah, right amount of price, we got it. Right amount of carries, we got it. Or hopefully, there you go.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the price
I
was right.
agree. I agree. The price was right. It was cheap, and like you said, he's a leader in the locker room. That's Dak's best friend. And if this is the last year, it's going to for sure be 10,000%. So moving on from Ezekiel Elliott, let's talk about the draft class. We have Tyler Guyton, Marshawn Nealon, Cooper BB. How do you say Maurice Lufo? How do you say that? The linebacker?
Liu Fowl, I think.
Leofau.
Kellen Carson, Ryan Florney, Nathan Thomas, and Justin Rogers. Your guys' thoughts specifically on the first pick. Did you guys want O-line? Were you guys mad that the Chiefs jumped in front of us and got Worthy? How you guys feel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not mad about O-line. I was pretty much on O-line. Graham Barton was a guy I was interested in. When JPJ was there, I was 50-50 that the Cowboys might take him. But I wanted O-line. Tyler Guyton. Look, let's hope he's Tyler Smith or Tyron Smith, right? He would play right tackle in college, but so little that it's all about the attributes and the way he's built. People are saying, look, this guy left tackle, he'll be a Pro Bowler. So.
Right.
Yeah. And so I was excited because I was team trade down the whole way through. So when we made the move and the way it came in on the live feed last second, it was like, oh, pick is in, 3 seconds left. No, it's a trade. I jumped up and down, I think a couple times. You can ask Landry. I was like, yes, we did it. I was hoping we would because we needed those extra picks. We needed bodies. And then as far as Tyler Guyton being the pick, I mean, we're talking a kid who, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've looked into, didn't play a year until senior year in high school. Yep. Was so big they tried him at running back and other things, and he Oklahoma saw 1 year of just him being on a football team and said, come play. Not only did they say come play, they said, hey, play a really important position. And he did that in 2 years to the tune of only allowing 2 sacks. Those were both in his first year. So we're talking, if you want to talk about just getting better rapidly at the game and being implemented into an important position against extreme talent and being asked to do a lot at a young age with not a lot of experience, but just simply raw talent and translating that fast and performing that well, I'm more thrilled about it. The more I found out, the little things I found out after drafting him, I was okay with him being the pick if that was. Now I'm thrilled it's the pick. I honestly think it's going to be a Tyler Smith pick. Okay. And it leaves me to question, is Terrence still getting traded? Because I still think our strongest offensive line right now, if you ask me, is Cooper Beebe at left guard, Tyler Smith at left tackle, Tyler Guyton at right tackle, and then Brock Hoffman, Zach Martin, center and right guard. That to me, I think, and I'm not these coaches, so but I feel like that's our strongest offensive line.
And I don't think we're there yet. I think that'll be a big debate coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big
I was going to say he got drafted as a right tackle.
Yeah, he's a right tackle.
And you guys want to move him to left.
No. He played right tackle in college.
He played right tackle in college, yeah.
Right. One game of left tackle. It was his first game, and then they moved him immediately to right, and he stayed there as 2 years.
And so did Tyron. Okay. And so did Tyron Smith. And the plan was
Tyron Smith did get drafted as a right tackle. Yeah. That is true.
And I actually did read it.
People get drafted as centers, and they played guard. They played guard in college. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that that's the plan, but it seems obvious unless Terrence Steele's getting traded, like you said.
Right. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Terrence Steele?
Contract was a little too high for me.
A little bit too high for me too.
But he's solid.
There you go. There you go. Mid was my
mid. Yeah.
Mid. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, if you can be mid or better, just don't be beneath mid. Don't be that on an offensive line.
No, I'm with you on that. And Sammy, how you feel?
5 Pro Bowlers. Yeah.
So I'm horrible at the draft. It is something I need to work on, but there is so much college to watch. I'm a Colorado Buffaloes fan, so I got to start somewhere, which is not doing so good right now. But I was excited to draft a lineman for us. And then once I looked into him after, I have a lot to agree with Jimmy. I mean, I think that, somebody asked me what I think because he has no real experience. And I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm a believer. And I feel like if he can take what he does know and go straight to the NFL and just learn straight tough, that, that's all he's going to know. He's just going to improve from what he already has there. And I think he's going to excel. Once I seen and watched all his love for the Cowboys, this is what he's dreamed of. This is what
Oh,
he
that was
really
great. That was
wanted.
so
I
good.
mean,
Absolutely.
he is going to prove to everybody that doubted him. I hope that this is exactly where he is supposed to be. He's going to make him prove his worth. I gotta say, the one thing that does make me nervous is, and I was bragging about it before he said it, is that Mozzie Smith said that he liked to hit people. And well, we've seen how that turned out last year. And I was like, man, Tyler didn't say that. We're doing good. And then he said he was a violent, like to hit people. So I hope that karma doesn't come back around to hit him. But I think he's going to be the real deal. I'm excited.
I'll ask you a question, Sam. If you had to stick him somewhere on the O line right now, would you be more comfortable with him at a guard and moving Tyler Smith out to tackle, or would you go ahead and, with the inexperience, let Guyton play tackle? Because Dak is important.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I would probably give him the trust of the tackle, just because that's what he already knows. And doesn't Tyler Smith want to be the left guard anyway? And then that's what he's better at. So I feel like doing what each player wants will help us, be more dynamic altogether.
Yeah.
I feel like. Go ahead, Landry.
Yeah, no. I'm just going to say this real quick. We ran into Tyler last year in the locker or after post game, and he made a comment about his dad was asking him, "How do you feel about left guard?" And he said, "I just do what the coach wants me to do." So yeah. I think that could go either way, and that's tremendous on Tyler Smith.
And I'll be honest. Once we got to meet him and he became one of my favorite players, and I think he's going to be a future Hall of Famer for the Dallas Cowboys from Texas. He's one of my favorite players on this roster right now. And so I dug into a little more film on him, and I'm going to tell you right now, Tyler Smith might be the best offensive lineman on our team at whatever position you put him on. I'm not kidding. Teach him to snap the ball. Okay. He's probably our best center. I mean, Zach Martin's a Hall of Fame right guard, but look at the film on what Tyler's doing at left guard. It ain't much different. It might even be a clip higher. I mean, that kid is serious. I love Tyler.
Okay, that's high praise, man. That's high praise.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, let me present this to you guys. So I know you guys said lineman, and you're 100% right. We needed a lineman. We actually needed a couple linemen. So I'm with you. But what do you guys think? Just a hypothetical question, irrelevant question. How do you think Xavier Worthy would have looked in this offense? Him, CeeDee Lamb, and Cooks. How crazy would that have been if you think?
Any top receiver you added when you already have Cedarian Lamb is going to look good.
It's going to look really good.
And also, anytime you draft a top three receiver in the draft, people are going to like it because it's flashy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I'll even give you one a little better than flashy. I think.
Okay.
And it's hard because when I look at it, obviously I want to go offensive line because if we can't pass pro, we can't pass. But when you talk about our passing game last year and the way Dak and McCarthy really started to cook it up, and then Cooks got a little more involved, and all of a sudden you had a 1-2 punch, then Fergie. If Michael Gallup or Jalen Tolbert would have gave you a really dynamic 3, the pass game would have taken an elevation that probably would have put it by far best in the league, hands down. So if you were to tell me we could get equal pass protection play out of the offensive lineman that we had without drafting one in the first round, and you give me Xavier Worthy in the first round, then obviously we're going to light it up. So, I mean, I liked it, but offensive lineman was so needed. It was tough.
Like you said, a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, you needed a couple,
bro.
And I like Xavier. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was just going to say, I think Xavier Worthy has the speed, but from what I've heard, he's kind of small. And that's a small worry, but it is a worry to me. I mean, he'll probably outrun any guy on the field, but
if they don't get their hands on him. So that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, a few said CeeDee Lamb was a little undersized, and we were worried about his, upper body strength to be able to truly play on the outside, right? Because CeeDee Lamb got a lot of targets in the slot his first 2 years. And we were all, even I was one. I was a big proponent of keep Amari Cooper because who's the hell's going to win on the outside? You need some strength to, with these DBs. But CeeDee Lamb proved me 100% wrong. And
Yeah.
so, and I
And
won't. I'll
okay.
bite my words. I'll eat those words.
No, well, hold on. No, matter of fact, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
What were we thinking? Getting rid of Amari Cooper like that. Do you guys agree with that? I know it's old and over with.
Look, the only thing I can say, and I don't see, I'm not sitting here looking at numbers, but foresight, right? This game on Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones' front, for all the hate they get, is getting played probably 5 years in advance.
So what do you mean?
I mean, they already saw an extension plus maybe another contract for Dak Prescott. They already saw Darian Lamb was going to develop. We're going to have to extend him. I think Micah Parsons was a rookie that year.
Yeah,
they see the money coming. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys got rid of him because he's not a valuable player. But by the way, and Jimmy's going to get to this, I guarantee you, Amari Cooper on the road for his entire career is not great.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I told Landry over and over, there's something to the fact that he doesn't show up on the road. I don't know what it is. But it happened way too consistently for like 3 straight years for it not to be a thing. However, I didn't want to let him go. The contract, when we had that contract situation going on, it was Byron, Zeke, and Coop, right? It was Cooper, Byron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott. Those 3 needed to get paid. One of them was not going to. It ended up being Byron Jones.
Right.
I was always on board. As much as I love Ezekiel Elliott, keep Byron Jones and Amari Cooper. If you have to let one go, we're elevating, we're year after year, it's becoming more of a passing league. If you have to let one, and granted, it was the right move. Byron Jones ended up 1 year later retiring, body couldn't take it. So like Landry said, foresight, that ended up being the right, cut to let Byron go. Cooper got paid, but then traded, which I didn't understand. So, and I guess that's really what it was. I can't believe it. No, I'm mad. I'm still mad about that. Cooper was my guy. I didn't want to let him go.
My guy too. And the upsetting thing is I met him that same summer he got traded. I was so sad.
Wow.
Bro. I was so sad.
The best thing about Amari Cooper is the best, most talented wide receiver that's a non-diva you've ever seen. The only one out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's not a diva.
That's a great point. I'm totally agree with that. Okay, so let's rewind back to the draft class. Outside of Tyler Guyton, what other picks do you like that we did, if any?
I like back on the offensive line, Cooper Beebe, because like you said, we needed
Yeah.
And in 100 mock drafts, I was ending up with Cooper Beebe in the 3rd or 4th round. I like Marshawn Nealon because we've already got some interaction with him, and he's another one who seems really happy to be with the Dallas Cowboys. He's already followed TheStarWeAre and trying to have him on a show potentially, so that's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think I like Caleb Carson just because her name is Walking Seatbelt.
The Walking Seatbelt is his Twitter handle. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness!
But we did well in terms. We did well drafting in terms of need, right? We feel we drafted all those positions that we needed going into the draft.
It felt like it could have been a bum draft, and it ended up being pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was a solid draft.
Yeah, it definitely was. Go ahead, Sam. Who's your favorite of the draft?
So you would ask me. As you guys know, I get really nervous. I took a lot of notes, but I left my note page out in the living room.
Who was your favorite of the picks?
Well, honestly, I'm excited for Cooper Beebe. Seeing, especially since, this is just kind of a one opinion thing. Since I heard we're going to talk about playing Deuce more, I think that since Cooper's used to protecting him before, that maybe he'll be capable of do it again. I'm a big believer in Deuce. I want him to get more play time. I know he's small. I know he's stopped almost immediately as he goes out there in the regular season, but I still have high hopes for him. I think that aren't we going to play him as a center? I mean, we needed somebody.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. I don't know. I mean, I get most of my facts from Twitter, which is a very bad thing, but
no, it seems to be that's what it's leading toward. Is
and I don't think we'll know until camp, but I think there's something to the idea of Kansas State teammates and things like that. Anything to build a team, because again, we had the roster last year. You can't tell me we didn't have the roster last year.
No.
There's something else you need, and maybe those are parts of it. Ezekiel and Dak Prescott, Kansas State teammates, things like that. Just build them on top of each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Jimmy?
Yeah, I think my favorite pick of the draft is probably going to be Marshawn Nealon. I think he's an upgrade from Dorrance Armstrong. I'm a big Sam Williams guy. I like DeGarrick, but I think he's going to knock him down the snap list a little bit. And I think he's D-Law's replacement in a year or two.
Talk about his athleticism score. I forgot about that. I just remembered.
It was the highest of every linebacker in the draft.
Yeah, and that's insane.
Yeah, and he's really savvy against the run. He reads the run really well. He's going to be perfect for Zimmer. I really like him to me was the reason I think was the best pick. He was a huge need, and he fits the scheme of what we need to improve in the personnel we got, Zimmer, everything, right? So he's exactly like when Jerry says all in, right? Which I'm sure we're going to get to too.
Oh, God.
But when we say all in, he was an all in pick, and he can improve what you needed to do right now. And he's going to be, I believe, a future cornerstone of the defensive line. So that for me was the best pick of the draft. My favorite is going to be, and I might butcher his name. Is it Flourney? I really don't know.
I don't even know how to say it.
Exactly. My guy Ryan.
Wide receiver.
I think he's I think he's going to take the wide receiver 3 spot. I'm gonna call that right now. Jalen Tolbert is going back to 4.
Hey, I'm so sorry, guys. I have to be right back. My son keeps hollering. I got to see what's going on. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Hey, man, gosh, take Jalen Tolbert's spot. You know, Jalen Tolbert played at Ohio State, and it still took him a couple years to adjust to receiver in the NFL. Without extreme talent, I just don't know if it translates like that.
So,
you see the Ohio State wide receivers from the past 4 years. You know, like if you look at when Marvin Harrison was a freshman, someone posted on Twitter the other day, they had Njigba, Marvin Harrison, Chris Olave, and someone who else? It was unbelievable. So, you know,
it was loaded.
If it takes time for him to develop, I just don't know how, you know, Flourney out of Southeastern Missouri State is gonna.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm serious, just competition.
I know.
Just listen, because if you're that out of Southeastern Missouri State, you still go in the second round because there's a reason you went to Southeastern Missouri State, and it has to do with grades or other issues. But your athleticism is off the charts. So.
I'll give you a little athleticism and maybe even slightly just overall like what you would want as a receiver edge Tolbert. What I think is going to happen is because remember one of the things we heard about Tolbert in his rookie year was the reason he didn't develop and the reason he had a hard time even staying on the practice squad. The guy didn't learn the playbook very quick, you know, and so he played for that college because he was so talented athletically. He didn't learn football at a very high rate, and he didn't. I think this kid learns football at a high rate. And as far as scheme goes and what we need our wide receiver three to do, the specific routes that McCarthy and what we were doing last year, the specific routes and what we're going to ask of wide receiver 3, I think he's going to give to us this year even better than what Tolbert can. That's just my personal take. I'll eat crow if I'm wrong.
I sure hope you're right about that, though. I sure hope so. Trust me.
Thanks.
I sure hope so. And I'm going to go my favorite player. I'm going to say Cooper BB. And I'm going to just keep it short. I think he's a monster. He's strong. I think he's going to be really good. And you might be right, Sammy. I think he might play center. And I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but there's only one way to find out, though.
Is that where you would play him, Capers?
Where else?
Center?
I feel like where else would you play him? Because you got your
unless
tackle.
You're moving Tyler, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you got your guard. You got Steele. You paid him, so it's not like you're going to So I feel like you really got no other choice to play him unless it's an injury.
I think you do have choice, though. I mean, I think everybody's right. Everybody's right in the sense that he'll probably play center and Tyler will probably play guard, and we're probably all right. But the fact is, coming in, he can play guard or center. Coming in, Guyton can play right tackle or left tackle. Coming in, Tyler Smith can play left guard or left tackle. Yeah. So that's tremendous.
No, it is tremendous. Right, just looking at it, you think Tyler Cooper in center, Tyler Guyton at the far left tackle. But like you said, with so many guys that can play so many, you really get the chance to play around with it early on and build a combo that might be better than what we're even predicting. So that is a good thing to have. We went from all of a sudden like, oh, we're so defeated at O-line to like, oh, we have all these guys that can play all these positions and it's looking great. It's just that fast. So round 1 and round 3,
for sure.
Tyler Cooper BB was 2 awesome picks for us.
Awesome picks. He said, Steven says, let's not forget Brock Hoffman. Absolutely. We can't forget Brock either. I think we're good on O-line. I think we got solid depth.
Right. No, that's
So
depth.
I'm going to bring up a name for you guys. And I feel like we already know what's going to happen because it would have happened already.
Okay.
Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
Thoughts on bringing him back?
I'll do this. I'll let everybody go on thoughts on bringing it back right off the top. After Ezekiel Elliott gets given, I
21.
Gets given 21 today. Well, there you go. I mean, I feel like
There
we were
you
already
go.
there. But
No.
that makes it kind of like it's in the writings on the walls, right?
He's a goner. Oh man,
He's a gun.
Yeah,
Stephen Mack said the same thing. He's a gunner. Yeah.
He's a goner.
And somebody helped us out. Angry Cowboys fan. It's Floor Noy is apparently it.
Yep.
Floor Noy
and not Flower Noy. Yeah.
And not Flower.
Floor Noy.
So
Ryan, make a play. I'll definitely know how to pronounce your name. It's real soon.
He's a goner. Yeah, I'd like to see Gilly back. It's just, does he really relegate to I'll only come in if somebody gets hurt or every now and then roll? Every now and then, maybe because depending on maybe matchup wise, you would go ahead and stick him against a number 2 and maybe throw Bland in the slot for that game, move Jordan Lewis around a little bit in the nickel, those type things. I just don't know. Again, I think somebody in the end is going to pay him a little more to perform a little more, whereas we would only want to pay him a meal or two to perform sometimes.
So
for him, I don't know if yeah.
Are you sure about that though? Because the reason I say that, I know we only got 2 games of him, Diggs, Bland, but I feel like if they were to sign him, why you don't think he would play? You think he would play minimum, like spurts?
It would be an uproar if you didn't see Diggs and Bland as the outside corners starting next
year.
And
really?
and Stephon Gilmore, in my estimation, is not a slot corner. He really is a true physical outside corner, especially with the advance in age. Right, he's winning off technical ability, which is at the top. But
well, and here's a little bit where I'm torn on it, where I don't think it'll happen. Because do I want him back? Yes, because I think Gilmore on the outside, Bland back in the slot with Jordan Lewis playing around. I think that's your best room. I think if you do that, yes, I want that. However, we know how our front office is. When you give a little money to Jordan Lewis on a contract, Diggs just got a lot of money, Bland just got a lot of interceptions. You want your 2 pick 6 guys to play because we know how the Cowboys operate. Let's put the flash, let's put the Hollywood out there. So that's what the people want to see. Let's give the people what they want to see. What are Diggs and Bland going to look like? Look at all these interceptions. Plus, and then on top of that, you just gave Jordan Lewis a little bit of money. I don't see our front office doing it. I want him back. I don't think they make the move though. Yeah.
Damn, that's a hurt piece, man. Because that's my favorite. Well, not my favorite. That's one of my top 5 favorite players.
Oh, the guy's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. He played really good.
Yeah,
and to hear him say that he wanted to come back too, and that he loved Dallas.
That's what hurts so much.
I thought that would do it. I thought he brought himself a job back when he said that.
I did too. And I guess not. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I guess we kind of knew he was a 1-year rental coming in.
That's what we wanted.
We pick up the option. I assumed he would play well when we pick up the option, but when Deron Bland, does what he just
does what he does, right?
Yeah,
and because he did play well. I mean, he was AJ Brown kryptonite. 2 games.
I know,
and I liked it. It was fun to watch.
I know. All right, so now let's rewind to that playoff game in Dallas. The demolition job. What do you guys say that went wrong? Because I don't know your guys. I didn't hear your guys' takes on that game. And Dan Quinn leaving and getting a new job, and some of these guys leaving. What are your guys' takes on that and the game itself?
Ladies first.
Who's the ladies first? Yeah.
Just because I don't want to have to talk about it.
I don't even remember that game.
I know.
PTSD. You erased it from your memory.
Yeah.
Let's start here, Sam. Have you been able to? Have you watched it back? Were you even able to watch the highlights after the game?
Oh man.
Honestly, no.
Hey,
That
look,
game
it took me a month.
drained me.
I still didn't watch it.
Yeah,
It killed
so
so
why I did
much.
it once.
I mean, for Jordan Love to come into our house, end our our home winning streak, like it just floored me. I was done. But I feel like at the same time, I doubted him a lot more than I should have.
Yeah, no, he actually is it.
But I feel like, okay, so I can't blame Dan Quinn all the way because we were kind of sloppy all over the place. But I kind of feel like he pulled what's his name? The old Texans coach that did him dirty right at the last before he left. I kind of feel like he was bitter and maybe did something like that. Kind of did us dirty. I mean,
are you talking about Romeo?
Really?
Crennel? That's my guess.
The coach with the last name Love. I couldn't remember his name.
Last name Love?
I think
Lovey Smith is.
Yeah, I was about to say Lovey Smith.
That's
and
who
then
she's
he
talking
won
about.
them that last game and then lost him their pick. It just kind of screwed him over.
That's what she's talking about.
I don't know. Sorry.
No, there's speculation of that. I mean, yeah, who knows?
I don't know. But
what you're getting to is that he had 1 foot out the door. People are saying, and that he,
And then I feel like too, because sorry. Bland. I feel like we did things with him that we didn't normally do. I feel like I cannot remember. I'm so sorry.
No.
Didn't he usually play zone and we had him on coverage, or it was vice versa? I'm so foggy minded right now.
No, we played a lot more man, yeah.
And he's not as good as that. Why switch him up when it matters the most and putting on something he's not as familiar with? I don't know. I'm not the one to ask about the game. It was
that's
sloppy. It just wasn't. It wasn't us.
Well, Sammy, we had Wanye Thomas on, and he actually said the opposite. He said the Cowboys played exactly how they normally play.
I don't think so.
He did.
He said it
didn't feel like it.
He said they
He
played.
said
Because there's no way we could go from dominating to just getting dogged on like that by one team in our own home. I feel like something was off. I'm not going to be the one to tell you what it was, but it was ugly. It was not the Dallas Cowboys. I refuse to believe that. I don't know. I felt like last season was last year was my year saying Super Bowl. Like we had everything
a lot of people
going for us. Sure. Everything going. And then all of a sudden, boom. Like I was excited. How many points were we down at the end? 12 points from getting our butts majorly whooped down to that minimum of a difference. I thought maybe if we had more time, we could have won that, but I still didn't see it happening.
So we watched the show, right? The Capers is talking about where Wanye was on. Wanye said it was like they knew what the play was. Okay. And it looked like that too.
It was like everything they did, it was just like they had the perfect answer for the perfect opposite play call. Everything that happened.
Now let me give a little bit of my opinion. Literally not too long ago, I got up the nerve to take a look at it, and kind of watch it again. Hey, it didn't look like they knew what the play call was. It looked like the first and second play, Jonathan Hankins got blown out of the middle by 7 yards, right? It looked like they scored a touchdown and we got the ball. We made a couple plays, and on third down and 8, CeeDee Lamb drops a perfect pass.
Oh.
That's how you lose playoff games. And that's the tip of the iceberg. I don't want to go for 10 minutes, but it definitely. I'll say this: I don't feel like it was on Dak Prescott.
No.
Marquise Bell is a safety, not a linebacker. Good Lord, get me off of the microphone.
Yeah. So for me, I can tell you what it was, and I can tell you what it wasn't. For me, anyway. What it was we already knew what we were looking at, run defense. We weren't really looking at one. And we kind of knew that. We knew that we had to get out on teams because we didn't want to have to load the box and play undersized guys at linebacker and bring up undersized safeties to go up against tight ends and, block packages. And we didn't want to have to do that. And when they jump out on us 7-0, and like Landry says, you drop a first down in the, when you're progressing or just outside field goal range, you drop a first down, and they go right back out and run the ball and do what they want to, play action and score again. Immediately, you knew if we don't get 14-0 on teams, you can't 14-0 the last year's Cowboys. The run defense was way too inefficient. So that's strictly what it was. However, it has for me, I've always heard when you know what your deficiency is, you just load up on it, right? Like do everything to sell out the run, make Jordan Love beat you. That wouldn't have worked because when he wasn't throwing to somebody who was wide open, we just watched it recently. Right. He was throwing to people wide open. When he wasn't, when there was pressure, he's back foot, sidearm, just zipping them in there, still hitting people. The kid played outstanding. When you go back and look at that game, Jordan Love played lights out. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the score was.
And he had been for a month coming in, and we knew that.
Mm-hmm. So they were hot. We had just come off some tough games. Detroit, a 1-pointer, a miracle.
Bro, we were burnt out, bro.
But it seems like we're burnt out every season.
Hey, DeMarcus Lawrence said we were burnt out. And I'm not saying I'm just quoting DeMarcus. We were burnt out, man. That's what
it felt like that. It felt like it felt like they were on their stride, and
everybody else played 17 games too. Why weren't they burnt out?
I don't know, man.
That's a good question. That's a great question because it seems like that every season, though, the Cowboys defense starts off hot at the beginning of the season, and then each week it starts to get worse and worse and worse until you become like a top defense to like an average defense.
Average. It's almost like we get adjusted to, and we don't adjust to other teams.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you guys think that was one of the problems with Dan Quinn?
100%. No, he definitely stuck to his MO in that last game because there were complaints about it for a month coming into it, right? We were managing some games, pulled out the Detroit game, this, that, and the other. But people had concerns about all this zone and soft boxes and stuff. So
it was the kind of situation for Quinn where when you build your personnel that way and you play that style, you can't have happen exactly what happened. LVE go down. You bring in a linebacker, he goes down. You have to bring in undersized guys and safeties to try to fill the void when you already are when run defense is your weakest thing and you lose pieces in that area. I don't know if there was anything, we could put this on Dan Quinn and maybe it was. However, even if he put everything and called his best stuff and gave his best coaching effort that game, I'm not sure what he could have done. It was really I'll say this. I think it was less of, what calls were played and who was on the field. And I'm not saying that anybody didn't play hard. I'm not saying that our team sucked. On defense, we just were not going ever to be able to stop what they wanted to do.
On defense, at least.
An interesting point I heard Landry say that you don't blame Dak for the playoff game.
Not at all.
Now, I agree with you. Now, I had his brother on, and I asked him, how much blame do you think your brother deserves for the Cowboys' struggles in the playoffs or in big moments in the seasons? And he basically said, you can only blame him as much as his teammates blame him. How do you guys feel? How much blame does Dak deserve about the Cowboys' playoff failures?
I'll talk a little bit about that specific comment because as far as we can only blame him as much as
that's what he said.
Other players blame him. As far as we're talking about players in the locker room, I think everybody's going to say, guys, it's all our fault equally.
Yeah.
So it's hard to take a teammate's word for it, right?
Look, if you've got teammates blaming the quarterback, that team is usually not in a 12-win position.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask Cole Beasley what happens if you try to blame people or try to blame anybody else other than yourself. In the Cowboys locker room, I think that's the reason Cole Beasley ended up on another team. I really do. So, but for me personally, I'll give my answer. If we had to do a scale of 1 to 10, how much blame do I put on him? He's the quarterback, so off top you get a standard of 5 because you're the quarterback.
Get a 5. I agree.
5 is what I would say.
When you throw a couple picks in crucial moments, when you're trying to mount your defense was inefficient early, You throw a bad pick in a moment where you're trying to make a drive and really maybe turn the tide to make it look like a game. That's going to add on to it. I'd have to put him at least a 6, if not a 7, even though it wasn't obviously all his fault. But when you're the quarterback, when it's your job and you made a couple crucial mistakes, that's a minimum 6, 7. It's just for me.
Okay. One of the two interceptions was pass interference. The first one, more importantly, because that's the type of thing that builds. That's the type of thing that starts to build and snowball and make you do things outside of your own character. The second one, right before the end of the half, was literally the one that basically ends the game, in my opinion. So that one's on him. I'll bump him up from a 5 to a 6. I agree with the fact that he gets a 5 right off the top. I don't care what happened, but in reality, it is not his job to score 50 points to win a playoff game.
No.
And other than if I'm taking the one pick away because it was pass interference that they get on the 20 and eventually score, you can put the other one on him. That's still 42, and that's still too much. None
that's a
of
good
the rest
point.
of it. None of the rest of it had to do with Dak Prescott. Like you said, CeeDee Lamb, CeeDee Lamb dropping it on 3rd down right after they scored 7. It was a perfect, simple pass that was dropped. You can't, I mean, and where maybe we go score from there and it's 7-7 instead. You punt the ball and it's 14-0. So
no, you're right. Because we were going stretches of 4 games, not giving up 50 points, and then you walk into the playoffs and give up 50 points. You can't ask your quarterback to beat that. So I'll give you that.
Dak Prescott for life.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sammy, how you feel?
So mostly with what they said, I mean, yes, he's the leader. He's the one, in control. But football's a team sport. It's not just a quarterback sport. I mean, you have to. I mean, yes, like I said, he's in control. He, puts the ball where it needs to go. But is it his fault CeeDee didn't catch it? Is it his fault that defense wasn't on their A game? I mean, it's not. I stick with that.
Getting dominated.
Yeah, I am trying to be nice about it here. I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with the 5. I don't know. I'm a softie, and I think last season was one of Dak's best seasons. I mean, he was in the MVP. Zone
You're not wrong.
All the time, and I just like Landon said, I don't see him doing it all on his own. I mean, I don't know.
You can only ask 1, 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks in history to do that. So no, we don't expect.
There you go.
Hey, he might be able to do it this season if he comes back on fire like last season. I'm all for it.
The improvements.
Still need a defense.
He will. Yeah, but just speaking of Dak's improvements, because you do make a good point. Last year was as good as we've seen him play in previous seasons. Was his best year, and if we can even see that much of another tick up in his play at his age, which is kind of where you see the greats really start to catch their stride, then you're right. He could listen. I'm all for Dak for MVP next year because that means we're gonna have a pretty good run.
He got robbed last season. It should have been him starting Lamar, but it should have been Dak easy. The NFL did a vote 3 times, and he won every time. And then I was so mad when they called Lamar up there.
Yeah, that was insane. I was upset about that. And Deron Bland, in my opinion, I think he actually had a legit shot.
But who did they give it to?
You know what? He just has to do something in the back half of the year, right? He has all those picks in the front half. He just has to continue a little more and show it.
He needed 2 more. He needed probably 2 more.
He broke the record, so
I was gonna say he already made history.
He made history. NFL history.
40-year-old NFL record. Yeah.
I'm and you know how hard that is to do.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, that's extremely hard.
Stephon Gilmore gets 9 picks, 10 picks, and wins Defensive Player of the Year. Trayvon Diggs gets 11 and doesn't.
Yep.
It's that Cowboys hate.
That's it. Okay, so speaking of the NFC, so the Philadelphia Eagles. Off-season approach. I hate them too. Trust me, I hate them too.
Come on.
They get Devin White. They fill a bunch of holes.
Oh yeah, Howie Roseman's a god. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, talk about their off-season approach compared to Dallas.
Do we have to?
It's the opposite. It's the opposite. Spend all your money, bring in some names, keep the hype up about this team. They still don't have a quarterback. They got a running back.
Bam. Yep. I was going to say that they still got Jalen Hurts. They still got Nick Sirianni. I mean, I know he's a pretty decent coach, but it seems like he did not
No,
get
he's
along with
not.
everybody.
No, he's
I
not.
mean,
Yeah.
Sammy,
but
no,
and
he's
I
not.
was so surprised they re-signed AJ Brown. I mean,
Really? Why are you
I was
surprised?
too.
because of his diva, his whole attitude at the end, his playing ability at the end is just not what I expected from AJ. I mean,
I'll give you this, Sammy. When you say his diva, though, look at his head coach, though.
oh my,
Right.
Look at his head coach, though.
right.
I mean,
you
that
look-
diva kind of trickles down through that whole locker room, I think. Even Jalen caught a little bit of it last year, I feel like.
God,
doing
I
his pouting on the
respect
sideline.
him as a person, but yeah, that's. I don't know.
Oh my God. Yeah, their GM never sits down, it seems like. If there's a slither of a hole, like it could be the smallest hole on their roster,
No, we
he's
don't want to
looking
go
to
on.
upgrade it immediately.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to
With the
go on Nick
best person
Sirianni.
available.
Nick Sirianni acts like I did when I was 13 as a fan
Yeah.
watching the Dallas Cowboys. That's how he coaches
Yeah.
the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hopefully, we can get him to shed some more tears this year.
The
Yeah.
one that hurt was Edgerrin Cooper. I live in College Station. Edgerrin Cooper played at Texas A&M, and you know that I was looking for him 2 months before the draft. And now he's a Philadelphia Eagle
Yeah.
and a good player. A good player.
Did Philly got
Great
Coop?
player.
Yeah, Philadelphia got Edgerrin Cooper. Right? Am I crazy?
No.
I don't think so. Do not tell me
Let me
that. I
see.
don't think. Don't you
Yeah,
do
no,
me like that.
yeah, you were sitting here right beside me. We watched them draft Edgerrin Cooper. I was like, oh, even worse. Like we didn't get him, but man.
I mean, hold on. Yeah, let me fact check that.
Somebody fact check me. Either way, he didn't end up with Dallas, and I wanted.
Yeah, I know he didn't end up with Dallas.
That's the truth.
Edgerrin Cooper. He's on the Packers.
I told you, Green Bay.
Yay, just what they need, more improvements either way, huh?
Yeah,
So,
not for
that was another thing. So I hear you call Jalen Hurts a running back. Can you guys please talk about your personal opinion of Jalen Hurts? How good do you think he is with all the help around him? He is in the most beautiful situation as far as O-line, running back, tight end, wideouts.
That's a good point.
He had a full setup last year, and he still choked pretty bad. I mean, the tush push is the one thing he has going for him. If he's not able to play well, they literally push him to get where he needs to go. He's not able to do it by himself. I mean, I
was
know.
starting to buy in. I was one that was like, I watched a couple games and saw a little piece on him with his dad and how, his dad coaching him and kind of started to buy into his character, and he's a good in the locker room and he's a winner, yada yada. And I started to see a little bit of improvement in the arm, and I was like, man, I hope this guy really doesn't just be who I don't want him to be, and he's not, and I got rid of that about the middle of last season, all that credit that I started to give him, because you made the point, Capers. Look at the team around the guy.
Oh my God, I know.
It's not hard to be looked at as one of the top 4 performing quarterbacks in the league when you've got a Hall of Fame offensive line, 2 elite wideouts, a top 8-9 running back in the league, constantly running behind you that they've mixed in the last few years. Their defense, yeah, it's that roster one. I mean, we're talking about a team that's just a couple years removed by the time Jalen comes in from Nick Foles winning them a Super Bowl. So let's not act like they needed some great quarterback to come elevate them. Jalen didn't come in and he made the Eagles better. Bro, Nick Foles just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. The roster didn't need a whole lot better, so I can't give him much credit. I mean, I would say mid-tier quarterback.
And think about what you just said with all the help. He has all this help, and he still was what, second or third in the league in interceptions?
That's a good.
So think about that.
That's a good point.
Andrew, you muted.
And those.
It's
good.
a pretty good team ball. And gosh, when you said I was muted, I have lost my point. He's pretty good. He's obviously an excellent running quarterback. He is. No, gosh, come back to me. Y'all lost me there. He's a mid-tier quarterback.
Mid-tier quarterback. No, he can play. Listen, Would I hate him on my team? No, I'd take him. I mean, listen, he's a solid NFL player.
I actually would if he was.
Mentality,
Oh, I remember.
work
Okay.
ethic.
I got back to it. Because
Okay.
let's treat him like the Dallas Cowboys get treated. Has Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's no better than Dak Prescott.
Well, that's one way people would say it. I'll give you.
That's the answer.
That's the way.
There ain't too many people.
That's the way.
That's how we compare Jordan and LeBron, people like this. So apparently, if it's the Cowboys, did you win the Super Bowl? You're trash.
Yeah. Even the MVP came up short, right? So
yeah,
even the not supposed to be MVP came up short. So I want to hear it.
No, it came up as short as Dallas did. It did no better.
Yeah, when it comes down to rings, you got to get these. You got and while we're talking about. While we're talking about,
please go ahead. Yes,
we're talking about rings, and I want to talk about a little bit of this culture, this Dallas Cowboys, and why did it look like it did? What happened? What's the culture? If we got a culture, it is Hollywood. It is flashy. It is bang on the glass. Hey, I want your autograph, Dalton Schultz. You're amazing. You're the Dallas Cowboys tight end. If that kind of stuff bothers, listen, I'll go too deep into this, but I'll try to simplify it.
I'll be right back. Sorry, guys.
With these, when we talk about these rings and what it takes, don't tell me it's a Hollywood culture problem and it's too flashy and we can't focus on football. Because let me tell you what these guys did. These 3-time champions in the 90s specifically. For a lack of better terms, it was strippers and cocaine on Friday night and championship football on Sunday morning. So if you can do it like that, I don't want to hear no excuse. I don't want to hear, I'm distracted because of the media. I'm distracted because of the fans. We got fans walking through the locker room. We got fans walking through the weight room. They're looking at us all the time. They're screaming our names. We're on TV. When are we going to put football first?
Right.
These guys partied as much as anybody in the NFL.
We do put
on Sunday. Football was first.
That's why you're the most valued franchise in the NFL because
you find a way to put football first. Yeah. Ocho Cinco. On a show not too long ago, it may have been him and Shannon's show. He said, I don't care if there's, naked women running around and explosions going off. If I'm at practice, I'm locked in. There's no distractions. Right. What's a distraction? So I don't,
No, I'm with you, but some would say that method hasn't worked anymore though. For the last some odd years. What's your response to that?
I'll ask you this.
I gotta go. My reaction to that is I think that it has worked, and it just simply hasn't worked out, maybe, right? Or it hasn't come up short, right? Is that method the reason Tony Romo fumbles the snap when he gets sent as a holder against the Seattle Seahawks? We're 13-3, and we are the best team in football. You know what I mean? Des Bryant caught that ball. No, it doesn't win the game, but it sure gives us a chance to win it, and we might win the Super Bowl. That might be the best team we have to see on the way to the NFC Championship. So we've come up short, but I don't think we haven't been good enough or put together good enough teams.
Well, a rebuttal to that, what about when Romo took the guys on vacation a week before we played the Giants in 2007?
Yeah, touche.
Yeah. all good points, right? Well, that goes back to my points. Listen, what about Emmett and Irvin strippers and cocaine on Friday night and running football on Sunday? So that that would be our argument. We can party, we can do that. Let's just make sure we can do that.
And certain teams need another mentality,
right? And that's what I was going to ask you.
It takes something special to win a Super Bowl.
With
only
the kind
the Kansas City Chiefs have it right now.
When it comes to that, and like you said, it hasn't seemed to work lately. Could it be that it hasn't worked lately because it is still our culture, right? We see that we're still Hollywood flashy with, it is what we are, that culture still. Could it be more of a personnel thing when it comes down to interviewing these players, the types of mentalities you want, the types like Micah, for instance. He's out here crawling around at camp, getting fans excited. He's all about the look at me for Hollywood flash. It don't affect him working out or performing or trying to get the job done. Now somebody might say, yeah, but look at Green Bay. Just because Micah's playing around at camp, that's not why we lost to Green Bay. So that would be my argument. But when you're doing that much playing and you're doing that much flash and you're doing all that Hollywood and the media and taking the time with the podcast and all these things, and you don't finally get the job done that the Cowboys fan base has been waiting on for 29 plus years.
Better be ready.
then you also have to be ready to take that beating. Stop playing around and make football first, because that's what it's, perspective is everything. Appearance is everything. And so
appearance definitely is everything. All right, a couple quick hitters and we get on out of here. What's 3 bold predictions for this upcoming season?
Go ahead, Jim.
Keon Coleman, fantasy wide receiver 1.
1. Okay.
Number 1. I'm not sure how bold. Actually, no, it is bold because it doesn't happen a lot. I'll give Dak 35 plus touchdowns again. It's hard to do
that's
that.
Not bold. Yeah, that's not so much bold now. Yeah.
It's bold. 22 quarterbacks in 30 years.
Landry's got the stat. It only 35 only happens once every 3 years. More than 35.
Something like that.
I feel like Dak is okay.
But see, because I'm with you, I feel like, and I would have to look, but I feel like he's thrown like 33 to 36 like 4 or 5 times, or like at least like 3 or 4, maybe at least times.
2 or 3.
So that's not so bold. And then, I don't want to just take the obvious one and say we're going to win the Super Bowl, because I'm still not even sure if I even believe that. So I wouldn't necessarily just throw that out there.
That's a bold prediction.
That's a bold prediction. I'll throw one out there for you. Last year, Zeke Elliott was on our team. He led running backs and touchdowns. He'll do it again.
You took mine. Oh my God!
Oh, was it?
All right, I gotta get another one now. Okay, that was a good one. All right.
All right.
Yeah,
but Keon Coleman wide out 1 is my Super Bowl one.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen's finna 4-speed that dude.
11 wins and the NFC East champions.
Oh, back to back.
Micah Parsons,
that hadn't happened.
first time since 2002, long time.
For a long time.
Micah Parsons 18 or more sacks, most in his career, and Ezekiel Elliott 1,000 yards.
Think he'll get 1,000? I think he'll get the 12 touchdowns, guys. I think he'll get a lot of the touchdown level. I'm not sure about 1,000 yards, but.
Okay.
I like what was your second one again, Landry? Sorry, Kevin. What was your second one again?
Micah Parsons, 18 or more sacks.
18 career high sacks. Well, I'd like that one. Let's see that one.
Yeah, right. Sammy, what's 3 bold predictions for next season?
Oh gosh. Does it have to be realistic, or can they just?
Sure, it doesn't matter. Just a bold prediction.
Okay. So I heard Landry say NFC East. I'm hoping we take that again. Like I said, as long as Dak plays how he did last season, Dak for MVP.
MVP, here we go.
And maybe another record-setting season for Bland. I'm really hopeful on him. I hope nothing but improvements for him, but that's what I'll take. I'm not gonna put too much on Zeke. Sorry, guys. I think he'll be I know.
Surprise.
I will not believe it until I see it. I just don't have.
Well, for all of our sake, I hope he proves you wrong. I hope he shows up.
Yeah, I hope he shows up too.
If he does, I will publicly call myself a fool. But until then, I'm sticking to my guns.
Okay, you guys took 2 of my bold predictions, so I'm gonna just make one. I was gonna say Trayvon Diggs, Defensive Player of the Year, or Comeback Player of the Year.
Comeback Player of the Year. I like that.
Both of them.
Well, if he gets the one, he'll definitely. If he gets DPOY, then comeback's a given. It'd be nice.
And one last question for all 3 of you. The Cowboys will make a deep playoff run if the Cowboys won't make a deep playoff run if.
Go ahead, Sammy.
I'm trying to think of my answers. Maybe I shouldn't go first. I think we will make the playoffs if we don't get burnt out.
Oh.
And
shots fired.
Man, that really hurt my feelings last year. I don't know. And then we won't go deep in the playoffs if I don't know if I'd call it a miracle, but maybe a jinx happens. I don't know. I'm always one to have faith until the very end. So I'm just gonna keep high hopes and say no matter what, we're gonna go there.
Okay.
But hey, I'm so sorry, guys. I have to get off now.
Yeah, no problem. We're wrapping up anyway.
Yeah, we're on the way out anyway.
All right, have a good night, y'all.
You
And
too.
thanks
Later, Sam.
for having me.
All right, Sam.
We will
So-
make the playoffs. Yeah, we will
Yeah,
make
go
the
ahead, let me drink.
playoffs. Yeah, if Dak Prescott plays 15 or more games, starts 15 or more games, that's basically all it takes for this roster.
No. A deep playoff run.
A deep playoff run.
Yeah, not to make the playoffs, like a deep run.
If the football gods are on our side for the first time in 30 years, because I don't know what else to say. Yeah. And they won't if they aren't. End of story.
I'd like to say it just as simple as if we can stop the run, and we won't if we can't. But I'll go a little further than that. I'll say if Zimmer's scheme can be fully implemented, because we've got the personnel, I know we got the players, I know we've got the mentality, so we will make a deep playoff run, not just based on the run game, but if Zimmer can get everybody to buy in and get what we've seen Zimmer do best in his past, if he can get that out of this team, we will definitely make a deep playoff run. And we will not make a deep playoff run if Dak Prescott goes down.
Yes, it's simple as that. God forbid we have Cooper Rush or Trey Lance. And oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna say we'll make a deep playoff run if we can stop the run. If we can stop the run and establish the run. And then the opposite, we won't if we have to have Dak throwing 50 times in a playoff game, or you know what I mean.
Okay,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
You had a question, Jimmy?
I think so. To your point, I was going to ask you. You had just said, I can't remember. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you a question. Rewind. What did you say right before you gave?
All I said was that we're going to make a deep run if we establish the run and stop it.
Yeah. Now I was going to ask you. Oh yes, I remember. If Dak goes down.
If that goes down,
who would you call to the helm? Like if it was your call, you putting Trey or Cooper
I'm putting Trey in. I cannot stand Cooper Rush. I cannot stand him.
Okay.
He's one of in my opinion, he's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
So basically your take would be he's basically going to manage the game for you where Trey might be able to elevate your offense a little bit.
Yeah.
Dude, he'll score a touchdown on the first drive, throw for 100 yards total throughout the whole game, and then score a field goal or a touchdown on the last drive. I cannot stand. I cannot stand watching a game where we move up the field and we can't get a first down until the very end of it. I cannot stand that.
Mm-hmm.
I give you that. Yeah,
Landry, anything else?
Probably put in Trey.
Oh no, I think I'm pretty in there. Yeah, I think I got mine out there. But on the Cooper Rush thing, I mean, gosh, 4-1.
Man, whatever. He's terrible.
Yeah. Oh God.
I think he's actually 6-1 total now.
I think he's actually 6-1. Yeah.
Hey,
with the two times he's had to come in.
If it happened like that or whatever, say we made the playoffs right then and Dak goes down and he wins a playoff game, you'll have half the Cowboys fan base. He's better than Dak.
They were having him. They were doing that.
They were
when he was on that little streak 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah, we even had a personal friend who said, "I think our team just got better." No.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Shout out to TheStarWeAre. Go follow those guys. Like their stuff up. We definitely got to collab again. Everybody, please like, comment, subscribe, share this around. I'll see you guys next time.
100%. We'll see y'all.
All right, y'all.